3 weeks ago, we heard the news that we all knew would come one day. But that still stopped every Seminole fan in their tracks. Gene Deckerhoff is signing off. For the last 43 years, Gene's rich voice has been the fiber that has weaved through the Seminole athletic experience for all of us.
Gene, good luck in your new job. Thank you very much.
Gene has always been so much more than a radio announcer to FSU fans. His bigger-than-life personality and love of all people made him an instant friend to anyone who cheers on the Garnet and Gold. And it is in the same way for those of us who have played for the Seminoles.
Roddy Dugan, he makes the catch. Touch.
All right, folks. Welcome to the Sports Talk here with Chris Heidel. Little tribute to Gene Deckerhoff. He retired this past weekend as the voice of Florida State football. He basically ranks up there in the same terms of Chris Schenkel and Bob Murphy and Mel Allen. The voices of that of your generation that you get a chance to listen to. And if you lived in the South, that was down there in the Panhandle of Florida, that was the voice for 45 years. So that's a good run. So I'm Chris Heidel. That's George Bechara, who actually went back to Notre Dame this past weekend. We'll talk a little Notre Dame real quick, and then we'll get into our show. We have our friend Steve Zulich. He is actually at Ripken Stadium tonight. Ripken is the Ironbirds are playing their home opener against the Wilmington Blue Rocks, and I talked to the manager from the Ironbirds this afternoon. We'll play that a little bit later in the show. So we'll text George here. So George, you went back to South Bend, Indiana. So how was it like with the car? Did the car go in the right direction for the first time? Did it do anything weird on the way over there? Like my mom makes that comment, like, "Oh, the car just started pulling to the right." I'm like, "Okay, Mom, whatever." Yeah.
The car knows which way to go. And the fun part about it is that even ultimately, it's about seeing old things on campus, and it's about seeing sights. And let me tell you, I'm going to pull it up here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it is.
Yes, this is technology at its finest, everybody.
Technology at its finest. 101.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't.
Yep.
And sometimes your cable company will call you up and say, "What are you doing?" Yeah.
Yep.
So here it is.
So you walk around the corner of the stadium to the north gate, and a view that I haven't seen in 2 years. There's the library and Touchdown Jesus.
Did you have like that? Oh. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, hi, how are you?"
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, and this is when
That's that room they built off the side of the football stadium, right? That's where because the last
the
time
media
I was
room.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Coach Rees.
That's cool.
Coach Golden, great guy, by the way.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong. I liked Al Golden when he was in Miami. Okay, I know he's been getting like negative stuff over here, and because I have a guy named my brother who's a Hurricane fan, but he was a very nice guy, very cool person to talk to. I had no problems asking questions with him, and I feel that Notre Dame has somebody very good as a defensive coordinator. Hopefully, he stays there more than 1 year or 2 years, and I hope he's not. Let's go to back to a college game, because I really don't think. He's not a head coach. I think he's more like a coordinator, and I think Miami put him as a head coach because he was doing okay at Temple.
And I think he's a good guy for Freeman to be able to lean on.
Right, and I agree. And Coach Freeman needs somebody like that because he's an up-and-coming coach. He's a new coach.
Yep.
And basically everybody's not going to give him any chances. Because I talked to some people I know who are Notre Dame fans besides you, George, with some of my buddies, and they right away want to write him off. I'm like, okay, it's after one game. Why are you writing off him from the Fiesta Bowl? He was thrown into it by Coach Disco Man down in Baton Rouge. And
He
basically,
who must not be named.
right. And you get these people who just don't understand. It's like like it's hard for that guy. The guy did a great job in like less than 2 weeks, getting everybody together and
Yep.
keeping the ship from falling out.
He's ready to go, Chris.
Yeah.
He's so ready to go. From Saturday, he was 147 days till Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
But now that it's Tuesday, so it's 144 days to Columbus, Ohio, and he's about winning, man. He's about winning at all levels.
And I think right now Notre Dame is a underdog to Ohio State because you don't know right now. You don't know what Ohio State got coming in. Ryan Day only lost 2 regular season games so far, and that's it. Yeah,
That's why they play the games, though, Chris.
yeah. And I look at it. Ryan Day had all of Urban Meyer's recruits. So basically, let's see how you do, Ryan. No offense, Ryan. Yeah, let's see how you did. Yeah.
But he's got that room. He's got the players lining up the way they need to do. They're excited to play for him.
That's cool.
The coaches love him. I mean, Coach Rees and Coach Golden were in the press conference, and it's just one of those things when something comes together, and it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing.
Yeah.
But then once again, he who must not be named was trying to keep himself relevant in the circles of Notre Dame football, and basically, what I get from Coach Rees and from what I get from Coach Golden is this: the meetings are great. They meet on a regular basis, and it's what they need to be on the same page. My takeaway from those comments, especially from Coach Rees, who's got tenure on everybody else, is that it didn't seem like the ship was run that well.
Right.
It seems like there was kind of a laid-back atmosphere, and it'll all come together. So I think it's going to be a great season. I think it's going to be a great season for the Irish, but they just got to take it one game at a time.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And with Ohio State playing, that first game, that's a big true test for Notre Dame to see where they are. And going into Columbus, it's not that easy to win in Columbus, Ohio.
Nope.
And the
there isn't.
It's tough.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you could go in there and you're Coach Friedman and you could spank Ryan Day, like Oregon did, last year in the beginning, week 2, you could actually make yourself make a noise. Like I was watching the spring game, like you were at Notre Dame. I was watching the spring game, and the people on the ACC network thinking that if Florida State goes into LSU, it goes down to Louisiana to face Disco Man.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we're going to call him now, Disco Man.
Love it, Chris.
And, we will try to, if we knock off, the folks at LSU, that'll put us right on the map.
Of course. Of course.
They'll make Mike Millville feel like year number 3 or year number 4 better. Because if you look at it, year number 3 of Jimbo Fisher's tenure didn't win a national championship until year number 3, right, George?
That's correct. That's right, Chris.
Year number 3, post-pandemic, because you don't want to. 2020 is like, out the door.
We'll forget the year. Yeah.
So in spite of all of this, and being at the press conference on Saturday, this guy prompting Chris to share the screen.
Yeah, this guy shows up.
This guy shows up.
Oh my gosh.
And it was the news. It was the biggest news. I wasn't there, like I said, at the press conference. I have my career, the job that pays the bills. And come to find out, Coach O's there watching the press conference. I'll play the video for you, Chris.
Yeah, play it.
But what I will do is then I will tell you what he said, because it's one of those things that is very difficult to understand, Coach. And I did the rewind and play type of thing like 10 times just to get the quote correct. Mm-hmm. So here's Coach O at the Notre Dame practice today.
All right, we're going to mute our mics.
this university you have here. What a great coach and what a great coaching staff you have. Some of the best players in the country are right here in this room. I don't know when it's going to happen, but with this staff, this team, you're going to win it all. You're going to pick up the truth. All right, when it's going to happen, I don't know. I can't tell you that. How bad do you want it? You don't have to wait for it. Why somebody else needs to be better than you? I'll tell you what. Physicality, use it. It's not a team spirit. Use it. Okay? Good luck to you guys. Hey, I know you got a lot of things to do. Coach, thanks for letting me talk to this team. I am fired up. I can't wait to see you guys play. I'm going to be pulling for you guys. But remember this. This is your team. This is your brother. You fight for it. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it, man.
Wow.
I've labeled this the best 58 seconds of video you're going to hear this week.
Yeah, I think that's a lot better than and I like Coach O, and I feel like Coach O got screwed out of Louisiana.
Yes, he did.
Why
He sure did.
Why get rid of somebody who just won 2 years ago a national championship? It's like, yeah, yes, he had problems with a couple players, playing extra activities off the field that we don't need to talk about. But the guy got his teams playing. It's like
he knows how to motivate, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay. When you have a guy coming in from the SEC, okay, coming in talking to an independent college, right, in the Division I football, and he says, "What a great coach! What a great coaching staff you have." And then he goes into the players. Some of the best players in the country are in this group.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then he goes on to say, "I don't know when it's going to happen with the staff. I don't know when it's going to happen. With this staff and this team, you're going to win it all. When's it going to happen? I can't tell you." And he goes on to say, "How bad do you want it? You don't have to wait for it. Why should someone be better than y'all?" There's motivators out there, right?
Yeah.
Luke Holtz has always looked as the great motivator at the university in modern day, okay? Having a guy like Coach O come in and talk to your team and do something like that, it's just amazing.
Right.
If I needed a kick in the butt, that's the kick in the butt that I needed to go win a national championship.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. And I feel like the same way. That's like, I would have basically, feel like that's like a good motivation to say, hey, we're going to be, we're going to get there and we're going to make it, win a national championship. And I think that's what Notre Dame needs to get back into the limelight, because everybody's talking, Clemson, Alabama, everybody else, and Notre Dame used to be that Power 5 school that everybody knew about. Now it's like your second fiddle or third fiddle.
It's all right, but Chris, it's all changed from the 80s.
Yeah,
Recruiting's
exactly.
changed. Everyone's got national coverage. You have guys that are out there getting now, NIL. The colleges are lining that stuff up for them.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, A&M.
Yep.
Agreed, George. Agreed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's one of those things. It's a team. It's a school that plays by the rules. You got to be able to be book smart as well as athletic smart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and in the end, it's you have your, I want to say it's a disadvantage, but you're behind the curve from other teams. Yeah. So now you got to be able to recruit that super extra athlete and be able to do what's got to be done. But that was huge news. I mean, having Coach O on campus today, he's actually going to be there all week, which will be interesting how all that plays out. So
yeah. Well, I heard he was going to go down to Miami and help out. What's his name? The new coach down there, because I heard that he was going to make a trip down there. So I guess he's making his rounds.
Maybe he's trying to pick a landing spot.
Yeah, maybe. You were doing that on Saturday. Last Wednesday, they had a big press conference about the that big game between Tennessee State and Notre Dame. The first time Notre Dame is actually playing a SBS school since 1941, when they, like you did the research, some team in Pittsburgh.
Carnegie Mellon, which used to be Carnegie Tech.
Yes. So, but real quick before, we're going to play it real quick. Coming up in a couple minutes, we got the GM of the Long Island Ducks coming on. Michael Pfaff joining us. He'll talk a little Duck baseball because former Met legend and second baseman who I grew up watching, Wally Backman, is the manager of the Long Island Ducks. So
Wally Backman.
Wally was
memories.
yeah. Wally was when you're a kid growing up watching a guy hustle like that. Yeah,
They had some great players that year.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to the interview. I had a chance to talk. They had this big press conference, and they had Zoom was on as well. And I was the first one to ask a question on Zoom, and I was kind of taken back by it. And I asked Coach Eddie George, the guy who used to run wild in Tennessee with the Texans, with the Titans and Oilers and whoever. And I asked him, can this be a future home and home series? Because you never know,
And that did not come up in the discussion, by the way. That was not part of the press conference discussion.
Right. So here it is. This is Coach Eddie George answering. You'll hear my voice. So here it is. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, Chris.
I have a question for both coaches. Is this going to be like a home and home thing, like this? In 2023, Tennessee State's going to come to Notre Dame, or Notre Dame going to go there 1 year just to help make this more like a great series between both schools?
And we're trying to make that happen as we speak. We're going to just take a sidebar conversation. We'll negotiate those terms. Maybe at Nissan Stadium or a newly built Hale Stadium, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so that's no. We don't know in terms of that. I leave that up to our AD and to figure all that out. But we're just going to relish in the moment that we have now, and if there's an opportunity to do a home and home, our goal is to get to the FBS level at some point in time, and maybe that could happen.
Not bad, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, I really enjoyed laughing about it, but that's a serious question because I can see Notre Dame going down the road with this new regime playing at different schools in different states.
Well,
why not?
Especially if there's a gate fee to be collected, playing at Nissan Stadium.
Right, and I feel like to me that's a great idea because you go to Nissan Stadium or the new stadium they have there at Tennessee State, and then if you do the same thing. You could actually, Notre Dame could come to Baltimore, play Morgan State. Morgan State's a good, it used to be a good school back in the 60s and 70s. They're not, where they are right now, but that could bring, because Notre Dame does play Navy this year in Maryland. So.
Yep.
Yeah, you never know. So let's bring in the GM of the Long Island Ducks, who is joining us via video. Michael Pfaff, the general manager. Hi, Michael. How you doing?
Hey, Chris. How are you? How's everybody doing tonight?
Not bad. We're enjoying some baseball finally. Everybody's kicking off, and you guys are getting ready for your season at the end of April. So, how is spring training going?
Yeah, the players got here over the weekend. We had our first workout on the field on Monday. It's always great to see players hit the field after, many months of looking at the ball field and seeing it empty, especially here in the Northeast where, it was kind of a sneaky cold winter. It didn't have a lot of snow or anything, but man, it stayed cold late. And it's nice. Today was about 70 degrees for the first time in a very long time. And seeing the players out on the field is great. So they're out on the field getting ready. Our home opener is next Friday night, April 22nd. And that is the season opener as well. So it's nice to open at home. We'll have a little bit of momentum training here on Long Island going into the home opener on Friday the 22nd.
Yeah. So you're the only team that's on Long Island. So I'm from Long Island. I'm from Oceanside, New York. So, it's pretty cool that you guys have the only team on the island besides the Islanders. They're back in at the Belmont Park area. But how is it cool having the only baseball team on Long Island, knowing the Mets and Yankees are just a subway ride away?
I never really got that. I grew up on Long Island too, Nassau County as well. Mm-hmm. And, it just didn't make a lot of sense that there's a region here with 3 million people in an area that's 120 miles long. It literally is a Long Island. And, we don't have any teams. We didn't have any, the Islanders playing in Uniondale was the only one, but I don't really consider Belmont Long Island. That to me is Queens. So Queens is one of the 5 boroughs, and Nassau and Suffolk is Long Island, and the Ducks are really the only professional team here on Long Island. So it's to us a point of pride to represent Long Island and represent Nassau and Suffolk County and be the hometown team. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed since coming here in 2002 is representing that region that I grew up in, and having my hands on the steering wheel of something that really didn't exist when I was a kid growing up on Long Island. The closest you got to a field like this is the upper deck of Yankee or Shea Stadium at the time. And now every Sunday kids are running the bases here, and they're learning how to play the game from the pros on the field. And it's a really beautiful thing what it does for the community. So you see it in a lot of small towns. You don't see it, you don't see it in places like Long Island. It's a pretty big market, but I'd love to see more professional teams on Long Island. I was hopeful the Jets would come out here at some point. I was hopeful the Islanders would potentially come to Ronkonkoma. I think all ships rise with the tide, but it didn't happen for whatever reason. And the Ducks, were a little lonely out here on Long Island.
Before I send it to George, how's Bud Harrelson doing? Is he doing okay? Because I know he's a former Met legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have Wally Backman there as well. It seems like the Ducks have all the former Mets I used to watch when I was a kid. Yeah,
well, we got the good Mets.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, Wally, how you doing?
Yeah. Well, thank you for asking about Buddy. He's doing well. He was unfortunately diagnosed with Alzheimer's back in 2016. We retired his number in August of 2018. The entire team was wearing number 3 that night, which is Buddy's number that we retired. But he is currently in a place where he's very content. He's in very good spirits, and his family is very pleased with how he's doing. So he was a great guy. He founded the team along with Frank Bolton. So Frank and Buddy started the Ducks back in 2000, and the responsibility we have is to kind of keep that spirit that they started the team with alive in everything we do every day. And it all started with community with them, and being such a big part of the community and supporting the community, and kind of being woven into the community, giving back and keeping things affordable, which on Long Island, it doesn't exist anymore. There's really nothing that's affordable. So that being kind of a base tenet of what we do is more and more challenging. So but it's really in keeping with what Frank and Buddy launched here 22 years ago, and we're proud to keep doing it.
Exactly. George, go ahead.
So, Michael, with everything coming back to, we'll call it normal, what can the fans expect different this year than something that they didn't have in years past? Teams always try and do something different for the fans. What's going to be one of the new fan experiences when they come out to the ballpark?
Well, one of the main things that I think will be different for fans this year is we're going to have mobile ordering from their seats. We've always had a wide cross aisle and open concourse so people can watch the game from every angle, no matter what concession stand they were at or what portable they were at. But that didn't mean people enjoyed waiting on lines. So, we wanted to cut the lines out this year. We have QR codes set up throughout the ballpark. Fans are going to be able to order with their mobile phone, download an app inside the ballpark called Catch, and they'll be able to order and skip the lines at the stands. We've continued to also make upgrades to the ballpark throughout the course of the first 3 years of our new lease with the County of Suffolk. This is a county-owned facility, and they've been great partners. And we continue to invest money. Over $4 million has been invested, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in a facility like this, it is a lot, and especially $15 tickets and free parking. We're the Ducks, not the Yankees, so it's a different budget. But we've done an awful lot to keep the lightning in the bottle here. We're very proud of the fact that we led all MLB partner leagues in attendance last year in both gross and average per game. And, for us, it's about making sure our product's a good product, keeping the lightning in the bottle, and keeping it affordable.
Thank you very much. Chris,
Adam, go ahead, Adam.
I think Adam's on mute.
I think he's on mute too.
I think there should be at least another minor league team on Long Island, besides you guys. But talk to us about how cool is it to have a former major leaguer, Wally Backman, who played for the Mets, like Chris said, as your manager. Having people like Don Crow Willis play for you guys, Ian Snell, who's played for the Braves. Talk to us about how cool it is to have a former major leaguer as your manager.
Yeah, Wally's great. He's been someone that's been a lot of fun to work with, as you could imagine. He cares immensely about winning. He has been, I think, really rather reserved when it comes to, his reputation. Everybody thinks of Wally as the guy that goes crazy after umpires, but he's been really, aside from the video you're showing right now, pretty well behaved with the umpires in this league. And but he's a winner, and it's a lot of fun to work with him and putting together a team with him. We're like-minded in that we want to win every game that we're out there playing. We want to find players that are not just talented but also good people and people that love baseball. So being able to find players like that, it sounds like a not difficult mark to hit, but you'd be surprised. We take a lot of time and have a lot of conversations throughout the course of the off season, putting this team together. In fact, got off the phone with them about 20 minutes ago about somebody else that we're trying to sign. So it's a revolving door here. The Atlantic League is a league that offers players an opportunity to be showcased to not just Major League Baseball, but overseas leagues, Japan, China, KBO, as well as other opportunities that pop up, whether it's winter ball at the end of the season or spring training invites the following year. So it's a fantastic league. We had 15 players signed from last year's roster. We had 16 the year before that. In both years, we had the best record in the league. So that's the challenge, is keeping the roster stocked while you're losing players and continuing to win. And Wally's a great partner to do that with.
All right, George, go ahead.
Oh, Michael, I was just going to say, I never saw anybody get ejected from a game for saying "Let's go Mets." I think he said "Let's go Mets" a couple times because I saw him showing the door a couple times there. So.
Yeah. I'm not saying he didn't say a magic word or two. It wasn't "Let's go Mets," that's for sure.
Hey, he's a good. Yeah, I talked to Wally last year, and he was during that whole pandemic. He was fishing out in Oregon. I'm like, "How was the fishing?" And he goes, "It was all right. It was not the greatest." I was like, and I'm thinking, this is a guy who used to, like, when I was a kid, hustle down to second, first base, dive on his back to throw somebody out from his knees, playing dirty, him and Lenny Dykstra, 1-2 punch, all that stuff. It's like, and I'm like, this guy's fishing? And my brother goes, really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you going fishing? He's like, that's cool. Yeah.
Wally's a little bit like, Wally's got some country in him. He's actually from Oregon, and he spends an awful lot of time hunting and fishing in the off season. So that's where you'll find him. I don't get in touch with him a lot because when you call him, the phone is just, he's in such a deep woods place that the reception is terrible. You got to wait for him to come down from the mountain to call you back.
Like the regular season, like when he's in your neck of the woods, you don't have to, if he's in Oregon, you're like, oh, we'll see Wally in April.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, well, Mike, thanks for coming on tonight. It's been fun talking, somebody from Long Island, a kid from, Oceanside, New York, Nassau County. It's great that you guys are doing something to keep, sports in Long Island. And, maybe one day I still have some family up there, and maybe I can convince my father to drive over there to see a game. Maybe I could get him to, stop on by.
That'd be awesome, man. We'd love to have you. And I appreciate you having me on tonight. And I hope you continued success on your show. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll keep in touch. Okay.
All right, guys.
Thank
you very much.
Bye. All right. That's the the GM of the Long Island Ducks, Michael Pfaff. Speaking of Long Island Ducks, we had, hold on. We did have, Steve on, and Steve just hung up on the phone here. So anyway, we'll get Steve in a few minutes. Yeah, he was giving us an update, but yeah, it's really cool. What they're doing for Long Island. I remember I was up there in 2000 hearing about this Long Island Ducks team. I was like, they're playing baseball in Long Island? Where? It's like to me, it's like Long Island's like the smallest little island, for me, but it's home when I get a chance to go up there. And it's fascinating. One time I was up there, and I have never driven to my house where I was born. In Oceanside, and I was in the car with a friend, and they're like, "Hey, you want to go see your house?" I'm like, "All right." Somehow I had the directions in my head getting to my house, and I have never driven at all since I left here in 1987, and I was 6 years old.
No, I could still figure out how to get to my house.
And my dad goes,
Connecticut.
George, you know what my father said to me? He goes, How did you know how to get there? I was like, it's programmed, Dad, right in here.
It is.
It's a home. It's our home when I was a kid. We used to have fun when we were kids up there. And he's like, and he goes, "Did you go see Grandma's house?" I'm like, "Yeah, I went to my grandma's house. Big red door." And my dad goes, "What are they doing in my house?" I'm like, "You don't own it anymore." That's the bottom line, Dad. But it's great memories, and it's funny that you always remember where you came from in your back of your head, in your mind, or whatever, and you still go there some days when you have just go down and out, and you go like,
it's that instinct.
I can still remember living in New Hampshire. I go on Google Maps sometimes, and I find where I used to live, and it's like some days in the back of my mind, it's like, I want to go up there, and it's like, and see what it looks like. Actually, the town I came from in New Hampshire, the population was less than 1,000. There were 2 general stores, an elementary school, town hall, a post office, and that's about it. It was like there were no red lights, nothing. It was, one of these days I'll get back up there and go see, a lot of friends. They live up there, families, they live up there. So hopefully one day I can go and see New Hampshire again.
Yeah. Well, I've never been to New Hampshire, and I've been invited from Coach Sean McDonough. He said, "Hey, anytime."
Yes.
He's like, "Anytime
you need to go check out a Wildcat game at UNH." Actually,
now he's retired, but it's
actually a couple days ago, Hockey East signed a contract with the ESPN, and they're going to have games on ESPN Plus, and I think they're going to have 3 games on ESPNU starting next season. So, Hockey East has New Hampshire, Maine.
That's cool.
Boston College, Boston University. So, really good exposure, for New England hockey, to get on national coverage like ESPN. Right,
exactly. Well, coming up real quick here on the program at 8:05, we have our good friend Bill O'Neill, the real deal, Bill O'Neill. I know George and I love doing this bowling segment because last week we had a great time with Norm Duke, and that was fun having Norm Duke on.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was, Chris.
Cool.
He was blown away with the Windsor Locks question, by the way.
I know. I was listening to it. I was like, he was like taken back by it. He's like, how did this guy know where Windsor Locks? Yeah, I remember Bradley Bowl. That's one of those.
So do I. Jeez. Yeah. Bradley International Airport's right next door. It's like, I remember that used to be the PBA tournament there. That it was right before the TLC every year.
Yeah.
It was last event, before you could to qualify before the TLC in Akron.
Exactly. Yep. No. We got some other stuff I found out today. Did you hear, George, before we get Bill on, did you hear that the Nationals are thinking about, the learners are thinking about selling the Nationals?
I saw something about that.
Yeah, they're exploring the way of, they may want to sell it or they want to get some more investors in the franchise. Are you having problems in DC if you have to do that? Yeah, it's like you just left Montreal, like what, almost 10 years ago? Almost that. It's like 20 years ago, and now you're having issues again with the franchise. There's something wrong with that.
Well, there's a couple problems going on in the MLB right now. Nationals aren't the only team. The Pittsburgh Pirates there, report that came out this week, they're paying their salaries through the food that's being sold and concessions and a few other things. Well, while you're there, why don't you just go and do a 50-50 raffle?
Well, I feel bad. And I was listening to this afternoon, there was an interview with the Cincinnati Reds president, and he was making comments about, if you don't like it, we could move. It's like, you're really going to move a regional National League franchise who's been in Cincinnati since 1885.
Yep.
Somewhere else because you can't play with the big boys. That's something wrong there.
Yep.
Cincinnati just came up with a great year of football. With both college and pros, and now the Reds are second and third fiddle.
Yep.
That's sad. The Reds used to be number one.
Yeah, and I think Joe.
Red Machine.
It's called. I think Joe Burrow threw out the first pitch today on opening day in Cincinnati. So actually, they were a pretty good pitch from what I saw.
Exactly. So anyway, let's switch gears. Let's bring in Bill here, who is live from Are you down in Florida?
I am. How you guys doing?
That's cool. How are you doing?
Good.
Nice to come back. Nice for coming back on the program. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, thanks for having me back.
Yeah. Last time we had you on was 2 years ago. It was before the Players Championship, and you tested positive for COVID. And I was like, the heck happened here? I felt like I was the one.
Let's hope we don't repeat that.
I know, but I was like, did I give him COVID? I was like, I'm trying to figure it out, but it's tough.
Through your email.
Yeah, through my email. Yeah. So, how you been? You bowled really well last Sunday against your good friend Jason Belmonte. Are you two talking? Because my girlfriend was wondering, do you guys talk after bowling against each other? She was wondering.
Yeah. I mean, obviously not right after. You kind of go. We had traveled separately this trip because I didn't know I was going to be in the playoffs till like Monday. So, we had to. So we had different arrangements, so we were able to go our separate ways, and then but I mean we bowled each other a number of times. I'm sure. I hope it won't be the last time we bowl. So when you do this as much as we do, you're going to run into each other at some point.
Yeah. Well, talk about the lanes. You guys are bowling at the training center with Del Warren, who used to be a professional bowler as well. He runs the whole center. He's the executive director. You guys had how many fans were there? It looked like it was like a limited number of fans at that bowling place.
Yeah, I mean it was I feel like a couple hundred probably. Like a fairly normal set, I think for us. So yeah, I mean it was a pretty good crowd. They were loud. They were really into it. So it was a good crowd.
Yeah. All right, George, go ahead.
So Bill, last week we had Norm Duke on. And he was talking about a couple different things. And when you were growing up, who did you follow on the PBA, and kind of who did you look up to?
So when I was younger, it was Pete and Norm and Leno Monticelli were probably the three guys that I like to watch the most. And Leto was somebody who hooked it a bunch, and as a kid, it's just get drawn to guys like that. And plus he, just from being from another country and everything, and just, his accent was cool. So I just really liked watching him bowl.
And when Norm was talking to us, to me, I'm a lot like him in what I do. I'm a purist. I mean, when I think about baseball, I think about its purest form. Norm talked about bowling in its purest form. What do you think about the technology today and how it's taken away from that purity of the sport?
I don't think it's taken away from the purity. I think purity is completely subjective, and you think it's pure because it's just what you grew up with. Just like anything else, we're always partial to things how they were when we grew up. Everybody's like that with music or whatever. You always think everything is better from when you're in your formative years, and the people who grew up now are going to think this is the pure form of the game. And so, I don't get bogged down by any of that stuff. I try to get out there and I just bowl and try to win and try to adapt to the, whatever the environments are at the, at that particular time.
Hey, Bill, how tough was it to not watch the Masters? Because I heard Dave Ryan your entire broadcast. He was getting his nails painted by his
That's
daughter.
right. Yeah, I was hanging out with my kids. It wasn't all that difficult, honestly. I don't watch a lot of shows that I'm not on because I just it pains me that I'm not on it. So I don't like to watch them too much, and I haven't only seen my kids for 10 or 12 days for almost a 3-month span. So it wasn't hard for me at all. That was the first day I was home in a while, so to be able to spend some time with them and not worry about TV or whatever was great.
That's cool. All right, Adam, go ahead, buddy.
Oh, all right, real deal. You talked about the fans at the Kegel Training Center, but the next time we see you or I see you is at the PBA League in Portland, Maine, and it'll be the first time since 2019 that the event is there. So, for fans that may not be aware of, talk about the rowdiness, the craziness that is Bayside Bowl in Portland, Maine.
Yeah, it's the greatest, Adam. It's the greatest place in the world to bowl. It's what you dream of as a kid bowling in somewhere where it gets that loud and the people are that into it. And it's just great. I mean, people ask me all the time, is it distracting that that they cheer while you're bowling? And it actually it makes it so much easier to bowl with that kind of noise, because it's just constant. It takes the pressure off, because it's not dead silent and a bunch of people staring at you in silence is very awkward. And so to have people cheering all the time is great, and I can't wait to get back there.
Yeah, and switching gears, I understand. I think you're a huge Philadelphia 76ers fan. So
that's right.
So I got to ask you, Joel Embiid won the NBA scoring title this year. So my question to you is, do you think he should be a candidate for MVP, alongside LeBron and KD and Giannis, after the season he had in Philly?
I think so. I think he's the MVP. That's my guy. Got to ride with my guy, he had a great year. He's been around a bunch of guys who, not really that great of defenders, and yet the team is still in the top 10 in defense. And he brings a lot to the table, and he's a great player, and he's been great for the city, and he's the best. So yeah, I hope he does win.
Yeah, Bill, I got to ask you about the NBA. Are you so with the 76ers? Do you feel like with that trade they send what's his name, the guy who didn't play for Harden? You think that's now gelling perfectly now? Because I feel like it took a while. I thought James Harden was not leaving Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the gelling is the issue with them. I think that they seem to be gelling pretty well. I mean, it's not really all that difficult to play with James. You just kind of you spot up for three and he's going to throw it to you and you're going to be open, and you got to shoot it when you get it. And then with Embiid, they got together pretty quickly on the pick and roll, and they look great. But it's just more about him being able to score a little bit more and hit those threes, and especially the step backs. And if those can start going in again, yeah, they got a shot. But the last month of the season didn't go that well, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I got to ask you, how's your dad doing? Because I know your dad came on, the beginning of this year when you were in the Players, right? Or was he there for one of your tournaments and it was on TV?
No, he wasn't. Yeah. He didn't get to come to anything this year, but he's going to come to Maine, I'm pretty sure. So
okay.
He'll be up there for the league in the summer. So I think he'll be up there. Yeah, he's looking forward. I don't think he's been to an event since, maybe the Masters, like a couple years ago when we were in Vegas.
But he seems like he enjoys watching you bowl. Is it good to have him in your corner? Like, do you call him up and say, "Dad"? Does he tape any of your stuff and go? He calls you up and goes, "Son, we need to talk." Yeah.
Yeah, when he watches on Flow, he he'll send me a text every once in a while after I'm done. Say, "Hey, this is what I saw." And it's great. It's great to have him there, and it's great to anytime you have somebody that knows your game that well. That watches enough, and it's great to just have him in my corner. And obviously he's been the biggest influence on my career for sure.
Yeah, I was not trying to get you the 9-pin. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I was like, but
I won that match. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, but that's Bayside Bowl. If anybody wants to know how crazy Adam's going to go up there, and I'm going to see if I can get some interviews with you guys up there, because I would love to hear all the atmosphere of how, like we had Norm on last week, and we asked Norm about Bayside Bowl, and he goes, "Yeah, we heard stuff like we never heard before, like somebody was called UPS or something like that," and you're like,
yeah,
what?
Making up all types of nicknames for everybody. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, that's a great thing. So you don't technically bowl until April 24th. Yeah, that's on Fox. So against Kyle. So that must be one of those games that you're ready to bowl against, right?
Yeah, I mean Kyle's a great bowler. He's always in it. He's somebody who's never going to give you too many opportunities to win. So you're going to have to kind of go take it, and game plan be similar to when I bowled Jason. Use urethane for a little bit, and just have to hope that when I switch, I do it at the right time, and just try to make good shots after that.
Yeah. What's your take about that whole situation with urethane? Because we had Pete McCormick on a couple of weeks ago, and he retired to being a regional manager, and we asked him about he talks about the bowling ball being soft after a while, the core, and then you can put it in like a 72-degree chamber, and it's all set and ready to go. Is that what the situation is?
Honestly, guys, I try to stay out of it. I don't care.
That's a good idea.
I really don't. If they tell me I can use a ball, I use it, and then if they tell me I can't use it anymore, then I just don't use it. I'll wait for the people who are in charge to make those decisions, and
that's good.
I can't be bothered. There's just too many things going on. There's too many different. The PBA says this, the USBC says this. I'm exhausted by it all. So I show up and I'll use the balls until they tell me I can't.
That's true. Well, Bill, I'll let you go. I know you're a busy guy. Thank you so much for coming on tonight, and enjoy the rest of the spring and summer, and we'll talk to you down the road, okay?
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. See you in Portland.
All right. Go 76ers, okay?
That's right.
All right, man.
All right, see you guys.
All right, say bye. All right, that's Bill O'Neill from the Professional Bowler Store. He will be facing off against Kyle on April 24th, but that's on Fox Sports 1. So it's probably like a noon, bowling tip-off or something like that. But I like his approach to that because, let's just bowl. And somebody tells me I can't use a bowling ball, that's great. That's fine. I'll use something different.
Yep.
But they're making such a big deal out of these bowling balls. It's like, who cares?
He goes in and takes care of his business, Chris. That's all
and
that
I think that's a great thing. That's
sure does.
Why worry about? You hear Sean Rash, complaining about it. You hear, other people complaining about it. Yes, okay, there's something wrong with the balls, but they put them out there for some reason, and they now have to go figure out which one is which.
Chris, what the problem comes down to is someone's always trying to find a better way and have a hands up on the competition, and unfortunately, that's the part that ruins the game. It only takes one person to spoil the pot.
Exactly. So anyway, let's call Steve here. See if he can give us an update on the Ironbirds. They're playing their home opener tonight against Wilmington Blue Rocks. So we'll see if he's picking up here.
Hello.
Hey, Steve, what's going on? What's the update from Ripken?
So far, it's been a pretty decent game up here. We're in the top of the third, going to the bottom of the third inning right now. And the Ironbirds have a 2-1 lead right now, going into the bottom of the third inning.
Okay, how's the crowds? It's a pretty decent crowd there for. It's a nice night. It's like 72 degrees around here. That's really good.
Surprisingly not. There's really not all that many people here. I'd say probably maybe 400 or 500 people, if that.
Okay.
For our home opener, I mean,
it's great.
Yeah. I guess that's just the way. I guess other people had other things to do, but I mean, it's.
Yeah, well, it's still a school night, dude. It's a school night. Everybody still has to go to school. So, anyway, let me let you go, okay?
Okay, and just a quick note, even though it's now a tie ball game in Baltimore with the Orioles, Cedric Mullins hit a grand slam to right field to give the Orioles a 4-2 lead before the Brewers came back and tied it up.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the both updates, man. Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, dude. We'll call you
Talk
back.
to you later.
All right, see you. Bye. All right, so that was Steve from Ripken Stadium in Aberdeen. So we're trying to get Doug to come on, and then at 8:30, Greg Pryor, former Royal and White Sox player, going to be joining us. I think he's probably who just called me. So let me give him a call. I don't know where we could play here. How about we just play the Ironbird interview from the manager? Let's just put that on until I get everything all situated here. So
there you go.
Yeah, we got one in the hole. So here it is. Here's the new manager of the Ironbirds going to the bullpen. It's Roberto. Here it is. All right, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to a very special interview with the brand new manager of the Aberdeen Ironbirds, Roberto Mercado, who the Ironbirds are home tonight for a home opener against Wilmington Blue Rocks after a great weekend up in New Jersey at 3-0 to start the season. So, Coach, just talk about last weekend up in New Jersey. What did you guys do right to kind of hopefully carry over tonight?
Yeah, it was a fun weekend, definitely to start the season. Swung the bats well. We scored 22 runs on the weekend, 36 hits, and pitchers struck out 38 guys. So it was all around great effort. A lot of composure from these guys. We were down a couple of the games and were able to fight back and compete at the end of the game. And it was fun. It was fun to be a part of.
Yeah, so you haven't been in Aberdeen that long. You've just probably been there for like a couple of days, and then you hit the road. So what's your first take of the city?
Well, actually, last night my wife drove in, and my parents flew in from Puerto Rico, and cool. We went out to Conrad's, the crab place over here. Awesome. Yeah. Give them a plug. That place is really good. I plan to go back there again, but I've heard nothing but great things from Aberdeen. Even when I was in spring training, everybody's like, you got to love the place. The fans are great. The field's beautiful. There's a lot of stuff to do in the area. So it's been great since I've been here. Went to Aberdeen Diner this morning for breakfast with my wife. Had a nice breakfast there. So I want to you're going to have to help me out to find some other spots to go to. So I definitely want to come and support the area. And actually drove over to the Wetlands golf course over here. I talked to the starter over there, and just to, introduce myself and, see if they have a driving range so I can work on my golf game when we do have a little bit of time off.
Yeah, that golf course is pretty nice. It's right around the corner. It's very cheap for people who want to play golf. So I've been there a couple times to play with my buddies. It's not bad. It's good for a beginner's course.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and plus Conrad's, if you go, I think Fridays, there's happy hour all day. My dad loves that place. Yeah,
nice.
So,
nice. Yeah. We'll be busy on Fridays playing, but on that maybe that Monday off day, or that Sunday, we got the night off. I'll definitely be going back there.
Exactly. So you're from Puerto Rico. So your family's from Puerto Rico. Where in Puerto Rico are you from?
So I was born actually in New Bern, Connecticut, right in the smack middle of Connecticut. My parents were born in Mayagüez and San Germán. So they're over on the west side of the island in Puerto Rico. Okay. They actually retired 3 years ago and moved back over there. So they took the flight up to Aberdeen to come check us out in our first week. So excited to see them, and I'm happy they're here.
Is that the rainy side of Puerto Rico? Because they get a lot more rain, or does it more? Because I've been there once. I couldn't remember.
Yeah. So if you're looking at the island on the map, it's on the west side of the island, more like towards Rincon. A lot of California guys go down there for the surfing on that side of the island. So it's not as touristy as like San Juan. Everybody goes to San Juan for the touristy part, and it's more on the west coast. But beautiful. The whole island's beautiful, and my parents are happy over there.
That's cool. That's awesome. So tonight's game against Wilmington, the Blue Rocks, what do you guys got to do to get this winning streak keep going at 4? And plus, it's your first time in front of the home crowd. What's your expectation? You must be right now like chomping at the bit, ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys are prepared. I think if we carry on what we did over the weekend, I think things will take care of themselves. And obviously every day it's something we have to learn and get better at. So there's some things that we need to improve on that we got video on from last weekend, and we'll continue to work on those things and continue to progress. So I'm excited. Should be a great crowd. It's a beautiful day here today. So I'm looking forward to having a great crowd and a lot of support.
I like the office. You guys repainted it. I haven't been there in 2 years since COVID. I'm like, wow, this repainted the office.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice in here.
Yeah, I was there when Aberdeen was in the New York Penn League for years, and it was like, okay, we were used to baseball in June, but now having an April baseball is kind of really like I'm still trying to figure out. Really, they're playing in April? I'm so used to June. Yeah, but it's cool thing to have a full season. So
definitely.
Yeah, so tonight's starting pitcher, who's going to be throwing for the Ironbirds, and what does he bring to the table?
You got Tavera. Carlos Tavera is going to be on the mound today for us. Expect a lot of strikes in the zone. We got a great changeup, looking forward to seeing him perform. During spring training, I didn't have the luxury of being with the pitchers very often, but our pitching coach, Forrest Herman's done a great job informing me of all our guys and what they got. And, we were able to see 17 of our 18 pitchers over the past weekend. So it was nice to see them live and, get them going, get their feet wet a little bit and get into this homestand of 6 games and seeing our guys perform at a high level and continue to grow. So I'm excited to see Tavera throw and should be fun to watch.
So speaking of 6 games, it's like basically you have a game 1 starter, and then you might be the game 6 starter on Sunday. So that's kind of that's pretty interesting for folks who don't realize. It used to be a 3-game series here and a 3-game series there. Now it's like 6 and then 6.
Yeah. So definitely managing the pitching. And like I said, Forrest does a great job figuring everything out and who's available and who's not available. And, obviously it's early on in the season. We can't extend guys. We got to make sure we're prepared to, if we need to get somebody up in the pen, we'll do that. So early on, yeah, you're going to see a lot of starters and a lot of tandems. We'll have like 2 starters go. Maybe even today you'll see a starter go. We'll see how he performs and kind of go from there, have a bridge guy between the tandem. So, but yeah, once we get later on in the season, I'm sure we'll have a set rotation of guys and, guys go up and down. At the end of the day, we want to win here, but we want guys to be successful and work their way up the farm system. So.
Yeah, with this lockout we had for Major League Baseball, and they didn't solve it until like middle of March. Did you guys take a lot of advantage of the facilities down in Sarasota, going, "Hey, they're not here. This is our home for a little while"?
Yeah, we did take advantage of it, and then there's a Twin Lakes facility in Baltimore, so we have two spots, and we managed it. There's enough room there for us to all work and get our work in, and it was great. I mean, the major league guy, it really honestly didn't affect any of the minor leagues players or anything like that. They got their work in. And then when the big guys showed up, a lot of our players had an opportunity to go to, play in a couple spring training games, which is awesome. Kauser, Mayo was up there a couple days. Norby was up, a bunch of guys had the opportunity to experience that and go play in the, play against the Yankees and these other squads. So they were excited and they had that opportunity. So it was awesome.
That's cool. I was reading your bio a little bit. You were a high school coach. Did you play in the major leagues before you went to high school, or you just stayed in the high school ranks?
So I'm kind of a weird path. I've been a dean of students, kind of like a vice principal at a high school for the last 18 years, and been coaching since 2004. Got the head coaching job in high school in 2011. Coaching the Cape Cod Baseball League for the last 7 years, from 2014 to this past summer. And then I had an opportunity to coach in Australia, New Zealand for a couple winters, brought a 19 and